lot of like hope and a lot of expectation, especially on Tyler. And I know your guys' message inside has been like it's been 9 games. Kind of how do you manage
Yeah.
the noise?
That can be difficult. And yes, there's a lot of optimism out there, which we like. We like expectations. I want our guys, and I want us to have expectations that we want to meet, but we can't let the expectations interfere with the process. And we're counting on some young players, some core players from the last two drafts to get better. We just are. I was thinking today about Kool-Aid. The leap that Kool-Aid made from year one to year two was pretty good. We need to make another leap. Quincy Riley came in here last year as a fourth round pick, ended up starting a lot of games for us. But we need him to take another step forward from year one to year two, just like Kool-Aid did the year before. So, we've got a lot of guys in that category that we're optimistic about. But they still have to perform. They have to get better. And our coaches and myself, all of our building, we have to create an environment where they can get better and help them to do that. And so and that's incumbent upon our veteran players as well. We're counting on veteran players to come in here and perform consistently and lead. Take the mantle that DeMario had at times, and so it's about performance and leadership. There's just a lot of things that come with the improvement that we're going to need to go from a 6-win team to competing for the division and trying to make the playoffs.
What did you guys learn about the team last year, like through the first 8 weeks, about how it handled adversity and all that stuff that you think might help them handle
Yeah,
expectations?
that was encouraging because years ago, general manager I worked for said that, hey, you're 3 losses away from a mutiny. Lose 3 in a row, you've got to guard against a mutiny, and so that was never the case, and we lost more than 3 in a row. And so that was never the case. These guys stayed the course. The coaches, very impressive. Players impressive. They just kept working, kept grinding, trying to improve, understanding each week. What was stopping us from winning, what was preventing us from winning, and trying to correct that. And it was Mike McCormick, our general manager, when I first, the guy that hired me originally. Yeah.
How did Kellen's temperament, I guess, kind of help? How much growth did you see from him last season?
Yeah, look, he's got an even keel temperament, and that was on full display last year. And look, it doesn't mean that inside he wasn't churning and grinding and upset, but stayed the course. It was impressive.
You seeing different things from him right now, like just in his growth or evolution or comfortability here?
Yeah, I think that's natural and would occur with any coach, any new coach in particular. Yeah, there's a confidence in what he's doing and confidence in the plan. And I feel that throughout our staff as well. So,
Mickey, with the skill set, what kind of expectations do you have the impact that each team could have?
Yeah, I mean, look, he's a really good runner for our team, right? And fits the scheme that we want to run. And I think a lot of that is going to be answered in training camp. I mean, we think we know what he does well, but I think that this training camp is about understanding exactly what he does well and then putting him in the position to be successful. And our coaches are going to do that. And one of the things that was encouraging about this offseason was I think the offensive line, for example, I don't think they missed a single workout. I don't think a single guy missed a single workout that I can recall. And so that was encouraging to see those guys come together and resolve to be one of the better offensive lines in our league. And so I think that that's the starting point, obviously, for any running back.
Fit together, and does him being here now kind of free Alvin up to?
Yeah, I mean, those are the kinds of things that we get answered during training camp. Alvin wasn't part of our team during the off-season program. He came for the OTAs, the mini camp, but I think those are things that get settled during training camp, and I'm not worried about it, to be honest with you.
I know we may not talk to you again over the next week or so, so just in 10 days, you've had friends and other players go to the Hall of Fame. Just what is it going to mean for you to see Drew being tried?
Yeah, good question. I don't know. I don't really know until we get there, and look, I went through this with Cortez Kennedy, who I was really close to when he was enshrined, and I remember being pretty emotional, a lot more emotional than I expected to be. And so I kind of think the same thing's going to happen here. I mean, it's a little bit different with Drew because I think the minute he retired, we all just expected 5 years from now he was going to go in first ballot, no questions asked, and that's what's happened. That's what should have happened, and that's what did happen. So there's a little bit of that, it's not a surprise. It's not, so I think the emotion of that is really going to be felt on that day, and just excited for him. He deserves it. He's such a great person, so meaningful to, the city of New Orleans and the organization. And, he contributed to a lot of people's success here, mine in particular. So it'll be emotional. I'm just excited for him and his family.
How much of a gamble did it feel back then with him?
Yeah, it was a bit of a gamble. Mr. B used to say that he hated gambling, and I reminded him, we kind of rolled the dice on Drew with that shoulder, and we rolled the dice on a young coach, and so that's kind of gambling too. But look, we had so much information and such a belief in the person that Drew was that, and I've said this before, yeah, we weren't sure that he was going to be healthy and ready to go in season one or win in season one. But I think we had a lot of confidence that at least within a 2-year period, we would get the player we expected. Now, he far exceeded expectations. So as a player, and he obviously exceeded expectations in terms of coming back from that shoulder injury so quickly. So.
Signs you look for when you're talking earlier about those players making a jump, like this time of year, what are you kind of looking for as camp develops, whether that jump is happening or meeting expectations?
Well, I think the first thing is look, we get to observe them during the off season. Are they here? Are they working hard? Are they intentional with the things that they're working on in the off season? Is it things that they are weak at, or are they just falling back on their strengths? And so we've seen some of that. When you come to this training camp, the first thing is, are they in shape? And it was really encouraging to see guys in shape. We've got a lot of players who's managing their weight properly, so that's exciting. But we'll get more of that, more of those indications as we go through this first few days of camp and as we get into it.
Last season, you mentioned Cesar Ruiz is a guy that you wanted to kind of get more from.
Yeah.
You also mentioned he was a good player.
Yeah.
So what are the things that maybe you're looking for throughout camp to signal those?
Yeah, I think first of all is just acknowledgement, which Cesar's done. He's his worst critic, and so he's a competitor, and look, it's all been good with Cesar so far, so I'm excited about that. And again, that's relative to the whole offensive line.
With a young player like Jordan Tyson, how do you balance you being cautious with him throughout that summer program with like wanting to get him the work that he needs?
Yeah.
And does he have like any ground to make up when you guys start?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I think he's a smart player, so I think the mental side we're going to be fine with. We're relying on the training staff. We're relying on Ted Rath and his staff to guide us in terms of what's enough, what's too much, what's too little. And one thing I've discovered in the last season was Ted Rath knows his stuff, and so we're going to rely on him and Ben and Sean in terms of managing him through this early part of training camp. But it's all been really good so far.
Is your guys' aggressiveness like a wide receiver and just kind of churning and just looking for different answers, going back to last year to even in OTAs, bringing in new guys? Like, is this the most aggressive you guys have been at that position? Is that anything new or different in philosophy?
Yeah, I don't really think so. Maybe it feels like that, but look, we're always looking for, good players and some of that may be a little bit driven by, the market for receivers now. It's so high that you're going to be able to play one top receiver generally, and you're going to have to, fill in with other guys. So the more, the better, and hopefully we hit on all of them and they're all become top of the market type guys.
I'm sorry. You talked about young players making a leap this year. Are you expecting the coaching staff to make a leap from year one to year two?
Look, we've got experience and really good coaches. So I'm not worried about them in terms of them making a leap. I'm worried about, them helping, and I'm not worried about it really. Our coaches are going to help our young players. They're going to give them the environment and the tools to improve. And I know we'll do that.
How important is it going to be for the young defensive linemen that you invested in, that they take that next step and contribute?
Yeah.
In the interior D line.
Yeah, I think it's important. I mean, one of the guys was Vernon Broughton, right? And we drafted him last year, 3rd round, and had high expectations. He got hurt. It's not his fault. He got hurt, but we have expectations for him, and he's been around. He's been doing really well. So I'm anxious to see that. That's part of this training camp. It's almost like a rookie year for him. Yeah. There's a lot of those guys, though.
With Chris Olave's contract negotiations, the nature of the issues he's dealt with the last 2 years, the concussions and the blood clots, has that made it more unique, more difficult for you to navigate and not having a lot of real comps to base that kind of stuff off of? And how much has that affected the process?
Yeah, it's an element. It's a variable in there. And, I don't want to get into the details of what we talk about, but that's certainly a variable.
Kind of the same, like with the way that that position specifically has gone up in value, as you guys are talking, like that would be another variable.
Yeah,
really
that's a variable. Yeah.
What do you like about the way you noticed Kellen Moore attacking his first full off season after having a season under his belt? What he prioritized, how he went about, I guess maybe even February, March, April, even before he got the players on the field.
I just think that he was professional about it. He was, we talked about, the things we didn't do well and how we can, how we can adjust going forward, what we need to emphasize. And look, he's very detailed, very much, I think, a planner, how do we get the focus on the right things? And so it was all impressive and not unexpected. That's what we expected when we went through the interview process, and I would say all that came to fruition.
For a second, you talked about the off-season workouts, of course. Tyler taking the guys for workouts onto the West Coast with Drew. How much did you appreciate seeing that?
Yeah. Yeah, we definitely appreciate that. One thing about Tyler that I think we've discovered pretty quickly is that he's very intentional. He's very mature, and he too has like a plan for things, and not afraid to ask questions, not afraid to get assistance, and not afraid to dive in with the intention of, hey, I've got to be better, I've got to get better. It's a race for him to improve because we're gonna go as far as he can take us.
TJ. Yeah. Straight up. Let's go. Welcome to Straight Up TJ. Tap in, sit back, press replay. We're locked in with the Saints on a weekday. Now we talk every sport, every big play. Years on the grind, now we level up the view. From the dome to the world, get a better look at you. No script, just truth when we break it down. Barbershop talk, but we broadcast it loud. Welcome to Straight Up TJ. Straight up. Fresh takes every time a beat play. This ain't your everyday sports cliche. We talk real talk now, what the streets say. Welcome to Straight Up TJ. New wave every week, let it replay. From the Saints to the whole game each day. You tapped in with the truth. Straight Up TJ. Real time talk, yeah, you know that it's live. From the draft to the deals, how the stars really thrive. From the court to the field to the big stage. We gon' cover every angle like a back page. No cap, no spin, just a clear take. If it's weak, we gon' say it, let the fear break. From the city that believe when the odds stack, TJ got the whole sports world in the group chat. Straight Up TJ. Straight up. Fresh takes every time a beat play. This ain't your everyday sports cliche. We talk real talk now, what the streets say. Welcome to Straight Up TJ. New wave every week, let it replay. From the Saints to the whole game each day. You tapped in with the truth. Straight Up TJ. TJ Jones, turn it up, let it ride. Straight Up TJ. We on your side. New chapter, same grind, same name. Hit play, pull up. Join the gang, join the gang, join the gang. Who that nation? Turn me up. Quarterback locked in.
Oh, y'all already know, man. We gonna get you lit before the show hit.
Let it go. Touchdown lights when you run that show, man.
Don't hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. Straight Up TJ Podcast. Let's go.
Feel the vibe. Fourth quarter, still alive. Who that ride? Side by side. Tyler Shough got the city outside. Step in the huddle, everybody locked in. Calm in the pocket with the game on 10. Defense coming, but he don't fall. Eyes downfield in that black and gold. Quick release, let it fly real clean. Superdome rocking like a movie scene. Crowd going crazy, hear the baseline boom. Shough hit the field and lit up the room. New era, new spark, new flame. Big arm energy, remember the name. From the snap to the pass to the end zone dance. Saints got a shot every time he got a chance. Hands up high when the Saints come through. Black and gold, yeah, you know what we do. Say his name when the beat drop low. Tyler Shough, now let everybody know. Yeah, Shough, let it go. Touchdown lights when he run that show. Black and gold, we already know. Tyler Shough got the Superdome. Like whoa, Shough, feel the vibe. Fourth quarter, still alive. Who that ride? Side by side. Tyler Shough got the city outside. Pressure in his face, still standing tall. Reads that coverage, then he drops that ball. Right on time, right on cue. Marching down the field like the Saints gon' do.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? It is yours truly. There I am, TJ Jones. And thank you so much for checking out another edition of the Straight Up TJ Podcast, where we get you lit before we even say a word. Thank you so much for tuning in. I know everybody's excited because it's official, ladies and gentlemen. Today, the New Orleans Saints roster has to report, and the start of the 2026 NFL season is here, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a long road, a long road. It's been a long time coming. I know some of you have been trying to figure out things you want to do with your time. Like, man, I got to cut that grass. Man, I got to pay them bills. But guess what? Football is back, baby. All right. And I know we're all excited about that. What you all just heard was the press conference of Saints general manager Mickey Loomis. And a little bit later, we should be hearing from Saints head coach Kellen Moore. So we'll go back and we'll take a listen to that as well. Look, man, this is the Straight Up TJ Podcast. Hit that like and subscribe button. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. We've been around since 2018 covering the New Orleans Saints. Lifelong Saints fan, grew up in New Orleans, raised in New Orleans, and love talking about the hometown team. So if you're into that type of stuff, as something I feel like it flew in my eye, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and let's go ahead and get started, man. So what y'all think? Go ahead and put it in the chat. I know it's not everybody's acquired taste listening to Mickey Loomis speak during press conferences. And I know people don't really care that much for that. But what do y'all think about Saints general manager Mickey Loomis during his press conference? I thought that he was a little bit more energetic than years past. Normally, Mickey Loomis press conferences kind of put us all to sleep, pretty much rings around the rosy, so to speak, kind of talks in circles. But I really felt as if Mickey Loomis was, a little bit more open than I have seen in years past. He has challenged the team for them to step up and for some new leaders to emerge. He talked a little bit about the offensive line, kind of putting a target on their back, and he held them accountable, not only Cesar Ruiz, who we all know needs to step it up, but the entire offensive line as a staff, record label, and crew. So I actually like this Mickey Loomis. This Mickey Loomis understands that the Super Bowl wasn't won last week. All right. He understands that the New Orleans Saints are a team for the last 4 to 5 years have been irrelevant. And he wants this team to be back in relevancy once again. But it takes a village, ladies and gentlemen. It takes a village in order for a team to be functional. And we know that teams can turn it around. We seen it a couple of years ago with the New England Patriots, right? When Gerard Mayo was the head coach, the New England Patriots couldn't find the playoffs, couldn't sniff the playoffs. But then all of a sudden, Mike Vrabel comes along, and you got Drake May as your second-year quarterback, and the next thing you know, the New England Patriots somewhere in the Super Bowl. So teams can turn it around extremely quickly. The Seattle Seahawks are another team, right? Turned it around. So the New Orleans Saints could be in that number, no pun intended. Now, I'm not going to say they're going to the Super Bowl, but they damn sure can make it to the playoffs. If you believe the Saints can make it to the playoffs, go ahead and put that fleur-de-lis in the chat. All right, put that 1 in the chat. Y'all already know what it is, man. Y'all know that the New Orleans Saints are capable at least making a postseason. All right, but I'm just excited about football being back. And for those that may have questions and comments as we wait for the press conference of head coach Kellen Moore, go ahead and put your comments and questions in the chat. Very interactive podcast here on the Straight Up TJ podcast. It's very simple. Put your comments in the chat so you can tap in.
Yeah. Ay. Tap in. Straight up TJ on the mic. If you with me, let me know. Drop your name in the chat tonight. I want that real talk, not a ghost. Say what get you the most. If you vibing, make it loud. We can run it back, go post to post. Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. If you feel that, yeah, run it right back. Put your comments in the chat. We would like to hear from you. Straight up TJ, tap in. Straight up TJ, tap in. Put your comments in the chat. Let the whole room see it too. Straight up TJ, tap in. Straight up TJ, tap in.
Yes, sir. All you got to do is put those comments in the chat if you want to tap in. But let's go ahead and get into it, man. One thing that I'm looking forward to this entire training camp process, I want to see some of these young studs step up, rise to the occasion, and take advantage of these opportunities. It's been a long time since we have seen the New Orleans Saints look as young as they do right now, which means you're going to see some young players emerge to be those cornerstone players, to be those leaders on the team. So I want to see if some of these young players can step up. Now, we all expect Saints starting quarterback Tyler Shough to take that jump from year 1 to year 2. There has been a lot of conversation that involves Tyler Shough, and can he step from year 1 to year 2 and elevate his game? Now, we've seen a lot of reports talk about Tyler Shough and how he looked year 1 versus how he looked year 2 in some of the offseason activities. He is starting to emerge as that leader. He is starting to galvanize the team. He is starting to get guys together in order to develop chemistry on the offensive side of the football. And he's doing all the right things that you want to see from your starting quarterback. But the question is, can Tyler Shough elevate his game? I know that you have some people who are skeptical of Tyler Shough. They're skeptical and because they talk about his age as if this man is 35 instead of being 26, going on 27 years old. This is a guy who is a guy that's mature, a guy that understands the game of football. Him going to Louisville, they are basically a factory when it comes to the pro style offense and getting guys prepared at the quarterback position to be pros. And Tyler Shough can be a name amongst the NFL world that can be a leader as well as a face of the franchise. But he has to be able to put it all together. He has to make sure that he does his part. Right now, expectations are high, but we all know it doesn't take much for expectations to fall once again. I'm excited to be a part of this process when it comes to watching the New Orleans Saints, analyzing this team, because I think I speak for a lot of people out there when I say it's been a long time since the energy has been as high going into a season as it is right now with the New Orleans Saints. And I just hope that they are able to rise to the occasion. Now, with expectations, we all know what comes with that, right? Those expectations, people expect you to go out and be able to perform and win some games and make some noise in the NFL. Now, if the New Orleans Saints, they start reading their own press clippings, they start looking around, start sizing each other up and be like, yeah, we got this, we got that. We know that that is a recipe for disaster. You got to keep your head forward. You got to continue to work and you got to continue to grind, because right now it's all expectations. It's all expectations. It's up to you what those expectations can be 2 months, 3 months from now. But they got some talented young players on the team, so I'm looking forward to seeing what those young players can do. The running back position, I'm not looking at Travis Etienne. I'm not looking at Alvin Kamara. I want to see what's going to happen when it comes to guys like Devin Neal and Kendre Miller and Estime and Ty Chandler. Like some of these guys that probably are going to have to fight their way to hitting the field. And when you think about guys like Kendre Miller, who has dealt with an ACL injury and has dealt with a whole bunch of injuries, despite the fact of being a very talented running back, you got to believe that he's the guy going into the 2026 training camp on a bubble. And he has to go out there and he has to make sure that he performs. Now, I didn't hear his name on the list. I didn't hear. Like, I heard Mickey Loomis talk a little bit about some guys that are starting on the PUP. I believe Mason Tipton was one of those names. I believe Xavier Harris was a guy who was a part of the NFI thing, where non-football related injury dating back to his time at Ole Miss. So him not mentioning Kendre Miller, I'm assuming Kendre Miller should be ready to do something. But this is big for Kendre, because I don't feel like the pressure is as high on Devin Neal as it is on Kendre Miller. Kendre Miller was a guy who went into the doghouse of Dennis Allen. When Kellen Moore became the head coach, they gave him opportunity to kind of, hit the reset button. He did some really good things, was looking like one of the best, if not the best running back in the room for a couple of games last season. But of course, got hurt and you can't make the club in the tub. So this is going to be a tough and very deciding season or training camp rather for Kendre Miller if he cannot get this thing together. So hopefully he can be able to put something together to make it extremely tough for the New Orleans Saints to move on from him. But the running back room is what I'm really looking at. I'm looking at the secondary, very thin, in my opinion. A lot of guys in the secondary that are young, inexperienced, and I just think that they're extremely top heavy. The Saints didn't really put too much emphasis in the secondary. I mean, they brought in a couple guys like Emerson and, a few guys like that, drafted, Lorenzo Styles and TJ Hall. And then, you still got guys like Jordan Howden and Ernest Sinker. That young guys there, but it's very thin. And, I'm just concerned about what that could actually look like if a key player in the secondary goes down. But hopefully we won't have to have those type of conversations, that these young guys step up. Quincy Riley steps up, Kool-Aid McKinstry step up, and they can keep their secondary intact more so than not. And if they do, then I think that they have a steady bunch of guys out there on the field. So I'm pretty sure there's a lot of positions that we can focus on, but those are a few just to name. Feel free to put the position groups that you are looking forward to seeing and how that's going to play out. Would love to hear what you have to say. Just make sure that you put it inside of the chat. But let's go ahead and get into it as we wait for the Kellen Moore press conference. I believe he was supposed to speak at 4:45 Eastern, 3:45 Central. All right, but at the end of the day, like we all know, man, sometimes things don't always happen on time. Anthony said that song was slapping, TJ, stuck in my head. Put it in the chat. Yeah, man, look, y'all already know what it is, man. Look, we get you lit before we even say a word right here, man. And that's what it's all about. We want to entertain. We want to have a good time here. And that's what you're going to get here on the Straight Up TJ podcast. And I'm just grateful for all of you that have filed into this platform and taking the time out, because you could have been watching or doing something else with your time. So I appreciate it. And I definitely don't want to bore you to death while you're here. Says energy was high when he had Derek Carr. Same thing going to happen. Well, look who that I understand that there's some pessimism going on, right? You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. I mean, being hurt, you know, who that you remind me of a person that has been hurt in relationships and you know, people telling you, man, get back out there, man, get back out there, go on that date. I don't think I'm ready for that type of commitment yet, right? To go out there and put myself out there and be vulnerable again. Look, I completely understand, my friend, but look, I mean, you only can go by what is presented, and you got to look forward to some positive things. Like you can't just go into things like hoping for the worst, right? Yeah, there's some questions that need to be answered, and yeah, there may be elements of this team that you don't trust, but you know, you gotta go into each season with some level of hope, because you really don't know how the season is going to pan out. We all can try to grab the crystal ball or become Nostradamus or Miss Cleo, you know, and we want to predict the future, but it doesn't always, you know, it doesn't always work in our favor. And why go into the season already, you know, with that type of energy? Like, you know, you want to wish for the best, even though you might be skeptical about where the team is going to be. But I just say, you know, try to be positive. Heard Tyson ready to go. Yeah, Jordan Tyson, he's good to go. So that's a good thing. You know, the Saints were bringing him along very slowly, which we all understand, you know, and I get it. Everybody want to see what this young man can do, but you want to be on the safe side as well. And, you know, I expect for him to be a integral part of the Saints offense. I expect for him to make some plays. And, you know, I'll go a little deeper than that. I think that he will be one of the top rookies in the entire NFL if everything pans out. I believe in this kid. He's a good player. He's a humble kid, and he just loves football. And when you have that type of element going for you, when you got that type of recipe, you can cook up something very, very special. So I expect Jordan Tyson to be a really good player for the Saints. I'm curious with all our new backs. Yeah, I mean, it's a good problem to have, but somebody is going to get cut. And a really good running back is going to end up getting cut and being on the outside looking in. And I'm just telling you, it's looking more like Kendre Miller, man. So Kendre needs to put together a really good training camp, because if it doesn't pan out with the Saints, he can land on his feet somewhere else. So he needs to put together a solid campaign, and he needs to be out there as much as he possibly can. Hoping Kendre hamstring at training camp. I'm just hoping. I'm hoping for him, because this is not a good look if he ends up getting injured again. I'm excited, but I don't want to get too excited right now. Still a lot to prove. Yeah, I mean, I'm just excited about the season starting. That's number one. Like, I just like talking football. Like, trying to create different, I guess, like just create discourse and have these shows and podcasts without feeling like I'm trying to gyp the people that tune in is very, very tough. And, you know, just being able to talk football and discuss football and really have these type of conversations that can actually lead somewhere instead of just What will happen if you do this? What happened if you put these two guys together? What happened if you add this to the team? Well, we're going to see how all this stuff comes together, and we can talk about it in real time. So I'm just excited football is back. I'm hoping Kendra can put it together. Yeah, I think we all do, Desi. TJ, what it do? I'll be out there at training camp Sunday. Hope to see some guys from the podcast there. Varnell, look, I'm glad that you're going to go ahead and head out there. And, shouts out to everybody that's going to be a part of training camp and be a part of that, but we'll be giving it to you here on the Straight Up TJ podcast, as well as the Sleeper Saints podcast throughout the entire training camp process. And TJ Jones, I don't understand why Demario Davis went to the Jets. I understand he started there, but why? I think that he ended up going there. Number one, look, football is a business at the end of the day. And we're talking business and we're talking about, guys being able to take care of their families, that's important. And then on top of that, I'm pretty sure the New Orleans Saints wanted to get younger as a team. So I'm pretty sure that had to go into consideration as well. So that's something that I'm pretty sure was considered. But I'm not mad at all at a guy trying to go out there, get the bag, and take care of his family, because that should be a woman's number one priority, is to take care of the family. So I think that probably had a lot to do with it. But what I'm doing is I'm actually going to put on the Kellen Moore press conference here. Kellen Moore is speaking with the media right now. Shouts out to the New Orleans Saints media team right here, because the new cameras that they're using for this year look pretty damn sick.
Was you guys evaluating whether there was a role for him on this team, or you always, like, while installing your playbook, had something envisioned?
Yeah, I think that's a fair observation. I think you're always looking for a role for guys, and I think sometimes getting a chance to evaluate where our roster's at and who we have on the roster and how this thing's developing allows us to take a little bit of time to do that the right way. And there's a little financial part, obviously, that the business side had to take care of, and so I thought it was a really good process. We didn't anticipate necessarily Alvin doing as much in OTAs, so that kind of gives a little bit of time to see some of these other guys and see how this would fit in this equation. And so we all feel really good about it.
You make adjustments now, though, like knowing for sure that he's here? I mean, because he's such a unique type of player. Did you already have everything that was going to be installed, or are there now different packages?
I think that's an ongoing process. I think early in training camp is, still, installation, so to speak. You're kind of teaching systems, getting guys comfortable. I think where you get into the player specific opportunities come a little later in training camp. And I think that's where certainly.
By the way, we're doing a process count, ladies and gentlemen. A process count. How many times Kellen Moore says the word process? Let's see. Make sure that you keep counting the chat. That ought to be fun.
We will be excited to, have those exploration phases when you have the running back room that we have. And so I think, we feel good about the roles and the opportunities that will be presented to these guys.
Get it done before camp, and I guess you can even throw Cam in there, getting it done in June. Like, knowing those issues, if you want to call them that, are resolved, what does that do for you as a coaching staff now and all that?
Anytime there's definition, allows us to build plans. It's the NFL. There's always a million moving pieces. That's just inevitable. These rosters are always moving, but Cam, Alvin, they're really talented players. They mean a lot to this organization. They mean a lot to this community. They do things the right way. And so we're excited to have both those guys.
You guys being able to go out and get another running back, a couple tight ends, a few receivers. How much does the offense, does the offense change? Does it expand, or is it kind of making it all the same stuff? Are you window dress it different? Like, what's the difference going forward?
I think there's more variables for us in a positive way. Certainly we've been able to feel that just being around OTAs and seeing the tight end room that we have, the running back room that we have. I think it's just going to be exciting to kind of build that as we go. Certainly there's things that we already feel comfortable, kind of diving into. There'll be things that I think that's the exciting part of training camp is you get to kind of evolve. OTAs is a awesome opportunity for us to get better as a football team and individuals, but it's not real football yet, and we're a little closer to real football, which is an exciting part, but that's where you kind of get to, get a better feel for it.
Well, going into camp, obviously knowing who the quarterback is going to be as opposed to last year, benefits that.
yeah, I think just continuity. There's only so many reps. You just think about that. We got 10 installation practices, and then we're playing Jacksonville in a joint practice. There's only so many reps, and so anytime you can have more defined roles, it allows guys to work with the guys that you anticipate working, come September. And so I think that's a huge advantage.
To that point, Mickey just praised Tyler's initiative and race to be better. We talked about him and a lot of pass catchers going to the West Coast with Drew. What did you think about that? What was your appreciation with seeing that?
Yeah, I think it's just a awesome leadership example of what our football team looks like. Certainly, Tyler gets a lot of the lead on this thing, but for guys to want to go do things together, spend time together, do the extra work, that means a lot. It's the right kind of guys. It's a special group of guys. They know we did a lot of good work in OTAs, but to steal a few more days in the summer obviously is a huge benefit. And then we just got to keep it moving.
Callum, what did you learn about your team off-season program, and what do you like about this team going into training camp?
I'd say they competed really well, connected really well. They put in a lot of time. Second off season is always going to be better, just because of the continuity and the expectations are more aligned, and everyone understands what to expect. But I felt like it was a good program. It put us in good position. Now we obviously have to do the real football part moving forward.
What do you think of the chemistry that Chris and Tyler developed last year through, obviously they're very successful together, and what excites you the most about how they can kind of keep developing that chemistry this year?
I just say they've done an awesome job, continuing what they built on late last year. Chris had a phenomenal season. I thought Tyler finished off strong. That continuity is obviously a huge asset. You look at a lot of these top quarterbacks in this league, they got consistent guys around them a lot of times that they can, lean on and anticipate throws to these guys because they've spent so much time with them. And so they're just continuing to build. They're continuing to grow. Good job during OTAs. Off season's been good. And now we're into training camp mode.
With the continuity that you have going from last year to this year and kind of the groundwork now that you have with the offense and defense, do you anticipate using more opportunity, or rather, what do you anticipate the sort of role of things like unscripted practices or unscripted sessions being this year?
Yeah, once you get through the initial stage, it becomes more free-flowing. Those joint practices obviously are good evaluations. We kind of view this almost as like 4 stages training camp is. There's the acclimation phase. There's kind of the compete stage, or the competitive stage where we got to go, push ourselves. Training camp's going to be a little bit uncomfortable for everyone. That's just how it is. And then you get to go, evaluate yourself against, really good talented teams in these joint practices. And then after that, we kind of come back for a couple of weeks to start moving our eyes to the regular season. So I feel like it's a good formula.
How do you guys manage like the expectations now? Like some people are picking you on big platforms, so like do a lot of stuff. Tyler's got a lot of expectations. How do you guys manage that this year?
It's part of the NFL. Much rather have that than the other side of these things. And so that's what we all want. That's what we all expect. And so, you understand the NFL season takes its course and there's highs and lows. And I think the most important thing is that the guys just focus on the task at hand, get better each and every day. We'll get to the regular season when we get to that. That's still feels a long ways away. So we got some really good work ahead of ourselves. And if we just keep our eyes on that and focused on that, getting better, everything else will take care of itself.
Feel that shift at all? I mean, do you kind of recognize that expectations are higher here than maybe it was a year ago, at least from the outside?
I don't know. Every season it's the NFL. I mean, everyone has the same goals and aspirations in many ways. We want to be NFC South champs. Like that's our goal, and then ultimately, obviously, we want to play February 14th. I think a lot of people have shared that in all 32 teams, the last couple of days. We're all shooting for the same goals, and now it's about what you do each and every day and the preparation you make. And, once the regular season comes, there's a lot of things that come into that factor into it.
How do you balance, you just looked at the caution and the management y'all have been doing with Jordan Tyson versus like making sure he's ready to go, and doesn't have any ground to make up by the time y'all get to week 1?
I just think Jordan's done an awesome job through this whole process. Every guy's in a different stage. Again, our objective is to be as healthy as we can in going into training camp and then build from there. And so an acclimation phase, we all have to get acclimated over the next few days to get ourselves ready to play real football, which is, I remember the date, August 3rd, I think. August 3rd is our first padded practice. So we got to build our guys up for that opportunity. And so I think Jordan's done a nice job. He'll continue to be able to play football and keep building up the right way. And, all these guys, there'll be a few guys from whether it's medical or older players that, hey, we, manage them just a touch, but these guys are all ready to roll.
What do you anticipate his management will look like? Will he be out there as early as this week doing more than we've seen so
I think we'll see him playing football tomorrow. So he'll be ready to go. And, we'll just build him up as we go, like any player. I mean, he didn't do a ton during OTA, so we got to build him up the right way, just like we will all these other guys.
Similar with Chris, or is Chris even more ready to do more early?
I think the same thing as far as just building someone up. I mean, Chris is in a great spot. He's doing an awesome job, and so he'll be ready.
Kendra Miller not to land on PUP coming off that torn ACL. Like, how's he doing, and what's it say about him that he didn't have to go on that at all?
Yeah, credit to him. Those are long journeys when you come off an injury like he had. Credit for him, our trainers, everyone who he's worked with to work really hard to put him in position to go compete for a job in August. And so you feel great about that. And I think he's going to do some really good things.
Hey, Kellen, are there any areas that you feel like you got better at since last season? Something that you've improved on as a coach?
Personally, I think you're always just trying to get better. It's as simple as that. No matter what stage you're at, every year you're going to have things you like, things you don't like. Every meeting, you're going to have things you like that you presented, don't like that you presented, and it's just about getting better. And I just love the offseason that we had because of the continuity and the consistency that we had, that we were able to really dig deep into what our season looked like last year, things that, both positively and things that you got to improve on. And then you also get to study, what the league looks like, because ultimately you're competing against 31 other teams. And so you got to see where they're at and what they're doing, and how can we grow as a football team.
Kellen, it seems like Tyler's really embraced the role as the leader of the team, especially now that he knows he's the starter. How do you expect that to show up during training camp? How does he lead this team through these next several weeks?
Yeah, I think, Tyler's one example. I think for a lot of our guys, it's the leadership that you need. These are days where we have to build this thing up the right way, and we got to push ourselves through uncomfortable things. These guys haven't worn pads in a while. And so, when you get to pads, like, there's an acclimation, there's a getting used to, okay, the pad level, the physicality that this game requires, and we have to keep going. And so, Tyler's a great example of everything that he's brought to this offseason has been excellent. From an offensive perspective, he'll continue to evolve as the leader of that group, and his communication and his ability to play at the line of scrimmage. That'll all be a growth opportunity this training camp.
How much clearer would you say the vision of an identity is for either offense or defense, really the full team, just going into this second year?
Yeah, I think time invested together, going back to last year, but then this offseason, I think our guys really have embraced the adjustments that you want to make. And so I think our guys know what we need to do. We know we did not start fast. We know we got to run the football better. We know we got to be more consistent stopping the run, week in and week out. We know that, situational football is such an important part of this. The margins are really tight, and these end of game situations we got to master. And so I think we understand where we need to go, and we just got to get there.
And how would you describe, when you think about where the identity is that you're starting camp with, what would you describe that identity as for this team?
Yeah, I think our team just realizes, we want to play smart, fast, and physical. That hasn't changed. That's a play style that we want to play with. But what the schematics look like, I thought we did an excellent job. OTAs building a foundation. I think a big part of what we're doing is, we're just continuing to go from OTAs. This isn't a, start at step one and, go back through, the baby steps. Like, our OTAs was a great growth. Summer, the expectation was you grew individually, and then we just keep going. And so that's where you gain momentum when you invest that much time into it.
At the end of last season, do you feel like you reached kind of those pillars, smart, fast, physical? Like, was it all kind of that identity that you wanted to see?
Yeah, I feel like we're playing cleaner football. I think we needed to play smarter football. The penalties and the situational football got better. Obviously, we spent a lot of time investing in that. And then, the play style, being physical, being able to run the football more efficiently, stop the run, I think we have some great examples of that late in the year. And then fast is just about these guys just playing confident and free. And I think our guys, we're finding that as we go.
I guess just to spin it forward, like, is there like one of the three that you're really trying to hammer home this year, or like right now? Kind of like I'd like to see like our physicality in the run game, for instance, or something like that.
I think all of it. Yeah.
I saw Josh Hill officially listed with the tight ends. Are there any other staff movements, configurations that have changed at all?
I don't think anything new. Obviously, Will Clapp would be our one main addition. Him coming over during the offseason. But yeah, Josh has been kind of around it, a lot of last year, kind of being in the personnel department, but starting to evolve into the coaching side of this thing. And so Josh is special. He's one of the best all time. Great example for our players to see a guy, his career, and then his transition. I think he's awesome for these guys.
You mentioned starting fast or wanting to start faster this year. What are some of the things that you can do, and are there things that you can do in training camp to kind of help get you ready for that? Is that the thing you got to look for?
No, mindset mentality right now. We're in the installation process, so it's about the mindset mentality and getting used to, like, we got to start practice fast, and then there'll be certain periods and situations as training camp evolves where we put a little bit more focus on it, and then there's plenty of stuff I've done through the off season where you're trying to study just the data and the scheme and all that sort of stuff of how we can do a better job here.
Kool-Aid recently made a comment about he thinks this offense is going to be very explosive, but also his excitement to try to shut them down during training camp. Just from a coaching perspective, how do you sort of like, I'm sure you don't want one side of the ball just beating up the other. Like, how do you, one side has a good day, are you worried about that? Like, what's that balance like?
That's how training camp is. One side wins, one side loses, and they're both on your side at the end of the day. So, yeah, I think the goal at the end of the day of training camp is it's an opportunity for these players to learn and grow. So, not expecting it to be perfect. I'm expecting them to have good moments, and I'm expecting them to test their boundaries and make a mistake. And I think that's an important part of what training camp is. And so just like during the day, I think at the end of the day, you hope that there's days or periods where offense does well, then defense does well, then offense does well, then defense does well. Same thing in special teams when you rep those periods that one side is successful and then the other side responds the right way. And so that's just what you're looking for.
Maybe the benefit of having so many joint practices that you kind of get a measuring stick where it's not just your guys.
Yeah, I think it'll be good. It'll be a change of environment, change of scenery, so to speak. Second off season, so I think our team's more ready for it, and you'll get some different looks, different personnel, different presentations. Again, a lot of it goes back to getting your starters and that first group really ready to play football come whatever the second week of September.
Felt like conversation around the league.
Sorry, do you have any special message for the team we talked to, team meeting, any point of emphasis you want to set the tone?
I think the biggest thing is just we have a plan. Let's execute the plan. We've put a lot of work into this thing. We've put ourselves in excellent position coming off of OTAs in the summer, and now it's about really focusing on this training camp. The season will come, eventually. We got to get better, and we got to focus on this plan, and we got to have purpose with it, and we got to test ourselves. Training camp. When you're in Metairie in training camp, it's going to be hot and humid, and there's going to be some adverse elements in that. Also putting pads on, that's an adverse element when you haven't done it for a while. And so we got to be comfortable being uncomfortable a little bit and push our boundaries a little bit. And that the joint practice will lead into that as well.
You mentioned that you had some players, obviously, you have to manage their reps in camp for age or whatever reason. Is Eric McCoy one of those players coming off those injuries?
I think any guy that's, I'm going to say 8+ years. I mean, they've played a lot of football in the NFL, and so you're always going to be smart with those guys. Everyone's on different trajectory through training camp as far as where we're building them to. Some guys are obviously going to be competing at a high level through training camp. Some guys are getting ready for, early September. And so, Eric's done an awesome job through this whole offseason program. He's in an excellent spot. He's, we'll probably have to make sure he's, maintaining this thing the right way. And so he's ready to go.
All the kind of conversation and emphasis around the multi-tight end sets around the NFL. What are you hoping to see from your room here throughout training camp?
Yeah, I'm just excited to let those guys compete, and they'll define the roles. We'll sort it all out. We got a really talented group. I think we got 7 tight ends, and we love all 7 of them. They're all tight ends that can play on Sundays this fall, and so we're excited to let those guys all compete. And it's a trend to play with multiple tight ends. It's an asset, and we'll just continue to see how that goes.
Does that kind of clock into what you were talking about with the multiple, like more variables and things like that? Is that
Yeah.
a position where you can really maximize?
Yeah, I think that's a really talented group, a very versatile group. When you talk about the traits that those guys have and the ability they have to, not only play like an inline tight end, play in the backfield, play split out. I think that's where the power of that position comes up when you have guys that can line up in a number of different ways.
Because it's been a focus of yours since you got here, just curious, team building activities, what's the schedule look like? What's coming up?
Yeah. Training camp's really about getting ready for football. We'll still have a couple items, but OTAs, we kind of utilize a little bit more time for that. And then training camp, we'll still have a couple opportunities to kind of spend time. I think a lot of what training camp creates is a day where guys are just around each other a lot. And so it's a lot more organic as far as spending time together. When you practice in the morning, you have a little idle time before meetings in the afternoon. These lunches, these dinners, we got a great cafeteria here, so guys get to hang around, and it's perfect.
You were saying that for the team you guys want to be next season, that like your young guys are gonna have to make a leap. And I'm wondering, I know that like is the case for every team across the NFL, but I'm just curious on like after the season you guys had, is that an emphasis for you? Or are you excited to see it? Well, what's kind of your mindset going into trying to have these guys take the next step?
Yeah. I just say everyone has to grow. Everyone has to, whether you played last year or didn't play, you got to get better during training camp. You got to be ready to go. And I'd say from a big picture perspective, there's always, people sometimes call the second year jump, those guys who play last year as rookies, that rookie year. Some of these rookies are going through it now. You go right from your season, right into the combine training, right into the draft, OTAs, summer, they get a couple weeks, and they're right into the season. There's a lot going on. And then those guys who come back after that first season, it's like, all right, I got a whole off season to like kind of train myself, get into the system. I'm not learning a bunch of new stuff. I'm building off of what I learned my rookie year. And so I think that goes for a lot of guys.
When there is a trend like the 3 tight end thing, like, are you looking at everything the Rams do, like their run game behind it, like all the duo stuff? Like, is it all of it, and you kind of just see what pieces fit? Like, how do you adopt something like that?
Yeah, usually you're going to try and watch a number of teams, in those spaces. Studied a lot of league. I think studied as much of the league this year as ever, which has been a lot of fun, I think, for our coaching staff in all 3 phases. I think we've studied football really, really diligently. And so the Rams have made headlines for 13 personnel. Get it? They had a ton of success, and, the numbers obviously, show that. A lot of other teams that did it and, maybe slightly different ways. And so you're kind of constantly trying to look at, what can probably be best implemented for our football team and tying it together. And so, I think it's been a lot of fun.
Are you married to like a very specific way of doing things, or are you kind of open-minded, like a new idea? Open to things up? Like some people have a system now.
Who that ain't buying it, no, they ain't feeling that. Jeff wrote another one, fans looking like, what's the deal with that? Tried to paint Camaro like he watched, we ain't hearing that. Put him back in space, watch him shake, watch him kill him fast. Screens disappear, wheel routes gone where the motion at. Running them up middle like he Henry, that ain't where he at. AK still got magic, better use him where the field is vast. Saints fans know the truth, we ain't falling for the Duncan draft. Jeff Duncan dropped a piece, now the city got opinions talking. Move on from Camaro, fans saying he tripping. You can't blame the player when the play calling been missing. Had a cheat code in the backfield, now they use him like he basic. When he first came through, he was catching in the flats. Linebackers frozen, he was gone before they tagged. Wheel route up the sideline, screen pass with the blocks. Now they slam him in the A-gap like he built a movable box. That ain't AK's lane, that ain't how he made his name. He need daylight misdirection, let him cook inside the game. Why we acting like the talent left? The use has been insane. Same old story, different star. Fans peeping out. Who that ain't buying it, no, they ain't feeling that. Jeff wrote another one, fans looking like, what's the deal with that? Tried to paint Camaro like you watch, we ain't hearing that. Put him back in space, watch him shake, watch him kill him fast. Screens disappear, wheel routes gone where the motion at. Running them up middle like he Henry, that ain't where he at. AK still got magic, better use him where the field is vast. Saints fans know the truth, we ain't falling for the Dunkin' drafts. They remember Mike Thomas, yeah, they seen this before. Same pin, same angle, tryna push him out the door. Fans ain't rocking with it, they been keeping up the score. Like why every time I start down, you gon' twist it even more. This feel like a hit piece, that's what they saying in the streets. From the dome to the timeline, everybody got receipts. Camaro ain't the problem, man, the scheme got him asleep. You don't park a foreign car, then complain it ain't cheap. Give him option routes, motion line, backers in the bind. Let him catch it on the move, not collide with the line. He ain't Derrick Henry, stop pretending that's the design. He a joystick with the vision, let him work and let him shine. Who that nation loud, they ain't quiet with the facts. They seen AK carry, they ain't turning on fast. Before you say he done, better check how he been tasked. A weapon out of rhythm, still a weapon with a chance. Who that ain't buying it out, they ain't feeling that. Jeff wrote another one, fans looking like, what's the deal with that? Tried to paint Camaro like you watch, we ain't hearing that. Put him back in space, watch him shake, watch him kill him fast. Screens disappear, wheel routes gone where the motion at. Running them up middle like he Henry, that ain't where he at. AK still got magic, better use him where the field is vast. Saints fans know the truth, we ain't falling for the Dunkin' drafts.
Yeah. Who that ain't buying it? We ain't feeling that. Jeff wrote another one. Fans are like, what's the deal with that? Trying to paint Camaro like he washed. We ain't hearing that. Put him back in space, watch him shake, watch him kill him fast. Y'all know what it is, man. This is the Straight Up TJ podcast. Appreciate you all for being here. If you're just joining us, we just took a look at the press conference of Saints head coach Kellen Moore. Went ahead and kind of cut it short a little bit. If you want to finish that up, you can go to the New Orleans Saints YouTube channel and go ahead and finish that joint up. And shouts out to Kellen Moore. Somebody must have gave him some PR training, some interview training, because I didn't hear the word process as much as I thought I would this time around. I only heard it a handful of times. And also it seems like he a little bit more confident, speaking to the media. So I don't know if it's just the fact that he's familiar with the group, or it's just the fact that maybe he took the time to kind of just work on some media training. I don't know, but it seemed like the word process wasn't used as much as I thought. I only heard it maybe like 3 times. But all in all, man, Kellen Moore, that is his press conference ahead of the Saints about to hit the field on Wednesday for Saints training camp. I know everybody's excited about that. I didn't expect for anybody's press conference on Tuesday to knock anybody's socks off. We know that, Saints head coach Kellen Moore isn't the rah-rah guy, and neither is general manager Mickey Loomis. But I think we have a clear understanding of what both individuals want. When you're talking about Mickey Loomis wants to get back to the Saints being a legitimate franchise, and Kellen Moore wants to build on some of the momentum that they had towards the tail end of the season. So all of that comes with the New Orleans Saints hitting the ground running, starting fast. We know that has been an issue with the team over the last few years, not being able to start games quickly enough, always falling behind the 8 ball, 14-0 before you can put the first batch of nachos inside of the tray. If you're inside the Superdome, it is absolutely ridiculous, man. So hopefully they can go ahead and get the job done, play a little bit more efficient. They got talent on the team, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they can actually do. Put your comments in the chat if you're just joining us. Feel free to put your questions or your comments there. We would love to hear from you, and looking forward to seeing and hearing what the Saints are going to be doing throughout the 2026 season. Let's go ahead and get into it. It says, I wonder if anybody sent that video to AK. Yeah, that's a good question. I really don't know. I don't know if Alvin Kamara seen it or not. But at the end of the day, I'm glad you all enjoy it. I'm glad y'all saw it. That's all that matters to me. Let's see. Training camp wars. Wright is young. Yeah, I mean, look, I like Jeremiah Wright if that's who we're talking about, Reginald. And I think that guy has a future. And I think that they brought him to the Saints in order for him to push Cesar Ruiz. I don't think that's a coincidence. So when is the Pro Football Hall of Fame? I believe that is on August 8th, which is actually my birthday. So yeah, I think it's on August 8th, if I'm not mistaken, the actual game. Let's see. Hall of Fame game is next Thursday at 7 p.m. Central. Okay, I'm gonna take Jerry's word for it. I'm gonna take Jerry's word for it because, you know, I mean, Jerry always be on top of the news and stories. So I'm gonna just go ahead and yeah, I'm gonna just say that's when it's going to happen. But I know the enshrinement ceremony, I believe, is on the 8th. That I do know. That I do know because I actually got a notification to actually attend the Hall of Fame. But unfortunately, I won't be able to make it. Even though I got the invitation to go there, that would be absolutely sweet. But like I said, it's on my birthday, and my wedding anniversary is the day after my birthday. So I think my wife can be understanding when I go to the NFL Combine. I think she understands when I roll up to Mobile at the Senior Bowl. I don't think I could be able to talk myself out of celebrating our anniversary to go watch Drew Brees. Because I'm going to have to watch it on TV. I love Drew Brees, but I love my bed even better. You know what I'm saying? They try to sleep on no couch. All right. But we're going to be watching that chance for Drew Brees wherever we are on August 8th. All right, it says I was actually talking about the ceremony. Yeah, the ceremony is August 8th. Let's see. Wish I can go there, but can't. Yeah, man. I mean, a lot of people, you know, wish that they can show up. That's definitely something I wish I could have rolled up to, man. And the fact that I actually got accepted to actually attend there as a member of the media is pretty doggone sweet, man. You know, despite what people may think about my media credentials down there in New Orleans. But let's go ahead, read some of your other comments. Says, hope everyone stays cool. Yeah, man. Hope everybody stay cool as well. What do y'all think about Kellen Moore's press conference? I guess that's the next question I have for the chat. Let's see. Kamara still laughing at Duncan. Yeah, people are saying that Jeff Duncan ducking. They changed his name to Duncan, but I don't think so. I think he's on vacation from what I heard. I don't think he ducking. Says, let's see. I don't blame you, TJ. Your birthday on August 8th and your anniversary on August 9th. Better decision. Yeah, man. Look, I would love, you know, to have attended the Hall of Fame, you know, especially since the greatest New Orleans Saint of all time, Drew Brees, has been enshrined. But like I said, man, it just, you know, yeah, it just didn't match up with the time that I have available, unfortunately. Says Shough versus the Saints secondary. Yeah, that should be something to watch. But look, I want to say this. I want to say this. I want to make this very clear. If Tyler Shough struggles a few days against the Saints defense, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that, because what you don't want your quarterback just to have a field day against the defense. Because what does that tell you? That tells you that your defense isn't that good. Look, I just think that iron sharpens iron, right? I don't think it's a coincidence that when we used to see some of those camp battles between Michael Thomas and Marshawn Lattimore, I don't think it's a coincidence that both guys were locked in when they were going up, when Marshawn was going up against a top receiver and Michael Thomas was going up against a top cornerback. Like, iron sharpens iron. And when you don't have too many dogs on your team to be able to push other position groups, I just think that the team kind of fails. And we also get a false sense of reality of what the team actually looks like. If you have a really good offense and your defense is trash, well, guess what? I mean, you might be able to put up a bunch of points against your defense, but when you go up against a formidable defense, you're going to struggle. So I'm not upset if the defense gets the best of a Tyler Shough on a few days in camp. That's what you want. You like, if he throws an interception or two in camp, I'm okay with that, right? That just means that the defense is elevating him. And if he ends up, like, you know, converting on certain situations and he looks good doing it, then I just think that we have our answer. But I'm not upset, because you got to keep in mind, if they are catching interceptions and making it tough for a quarterback that Saints fans expect to make plays, then what does that tell you what they're going to do against another quarterback like a Jared Goff or some of these other quarterbacks that they have to go up against? So don't be upset if they be like, well, Tyler Shough threw an interception in camp today. Well, that to me, that's not necessarily a bad thing. That means your defense is trending in the right direction. It seems the Saints have been drafting a few more secondary players than in years past. Yeah, I mean, they did it late. They did it late, right? They drafted, I want to say Lorenzo Styles in the 5th round and then TJ Hall in the 7th. But I mean, they've been trying to get players. Quincy Riley, I think they drafted him in the 4th round. Was it the 4th round that they drafted Quincy Riley? So they're trying to get players in the secondary, but I just think that they felt like they had bigger fish to fry when it comes to what they needed earlier in the draft. You got Jordan Tyson in the 1st round. You got Christian Miller in the 2nd round. So both of those guys are going to pay dividends right away. So I think they probably believe in these young players and Kool-Aid and Quincy Riley. So let's see what they can actually do. Honestly, not only Drew Brees is my favorite player, but Larry Fitzgerald is also my favorite player. I was almost a Cardinals fan. Well, look, I like Larry Fitzgerald. I liked him from the time that he was playing at Pittsburgh. I remember when he was on the cover of that NCAA football game back in the day, man. I always liked Larry Fitzgerald. I thought that he was a dog at Pitt. I think that he's one of the best wide receivers to ever play the game. I mean, definitely had the best hands that you ever seen from a wide receiver. And the fact that he was able to play on the outside all those years, and then when he started to slow down, embrace the slot and got about 5 more years out of his career, that just tell you how great Larry Legend actually was. So, yeah, I like Larry Fitzgerald, like watching him play. I'll never forget, what was that, 2008, when he had one of the greatest playoff runs I ever seen from a wide receiver when Arizona Cardinals went all the way to the Super Bowl and lost by a Santonio Holmes incredible catch in the back of the end zone against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I was actually rooting for Arizona in that game. I can remember, rooting for Kurt Warner in Arizona because everybody just thought that Kurt Warner was washed and he was just going to go to Arizona to just pass and die, a slow quarterback death. But he went out there, man, he resurrected that franchise. And I just never forget, man, Larry Fitzgerald just out there balling the heck out. That was probably the greatest outside of Jerry Rice. And I was young at the time because I didn't really appreciate the playoff run of a Jerry Rice. But that might have been, I'm talking about, a playoff performance that I can remember from a wide receiver. That was probably the best playoff run from a wide receiver I ever seen from Larry Fitzgerald. Like he was a beast during that playoff run. I mean, he was unstoppable. He was freaking unstoppable. See, my guy TJ, I'm always an after show boy, but was able to come in for a second and show my support. I'm at work, big dog. Damian, I appreciate that. Thank you for stopping by. You already know what it is, man. We always got love for all of the after show boys and after show girls out there. Y'all already know.
Shots out, shots out, shots out, shots out, shots out. To them after show boys. Shots out, shots out, shots out, shots out, shots out. To them after show boys. They be tweeting and be posting. They be tweeting and be posting. They be tweeting. Yeah, them after show boys. They be tweeting and be posting. They be tweeting and be posting. They be tweeting. Yeah, them after show boys.
Shout out to all the after show boys and after show girls out there. Says training camp is the time to try something. Yes, you will make mistakes, so go for it. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Yeah, man, just go out there and do your best, man, and take some risk, right? I mean, go out there and take some risks. It's best for you to take those type of risks and training camp to actually do it in a game. Shouts out to after show boys and girls. Yeah, man. Shouts out to them ASBs out there. Shouts out to them, man. Steelers versus Cardinals was one of the best Super Bowl games. Yeah, man, it was one of the best Super Bowl games. That game was back and forth. I'm gonna be real. When I saw Larry Fitzgerald catch that 71-yard touchdown towards the tail end of the game, I was like, man, Larry Legend. And that man about to carry the Arizona Cardinals to the Super Bowl. I couldn't believe it, man. I could not believe it. But man, that was a one hell of a catch by Santonio Holmes, man. I mean, homeboy dotted the eye for real, man. I'm talking about the heel of that boy's foot just touched a couple blades of grass. I mean, that was one incredible catch. That was a hell of a throw by Big Ben too. I give him that, but I mean, we give a lot of credit to these quarterbacks, but that catch was incredible. That catch was incredible. To all the brothers and sisters that ain't here. Yeah, man. To all the brothers and sisters that ain't here. Shouts out to them. Yeah, man, look. A lot of exciting things going on with the New Orleans Saints. Man, but look, I got a question for y'all. I don't know if some of y'all been following this story. Y'all already know, man, we talk Saints, but we talk NFL too. But there's a story that's going on around the National Football League involving 49ers head coach Kyle Shanahan. And I mean, this story right here is just absolutely insane. He got into a car accident, man, like a serious car accident where he had to get like 40 stitches. He broke some ribs. I mean, he really messed himself up. And the talk has been the fact that it happened 11 days ago. And some people are asking, well, why hasn't it taken so long for the story to come out? Why didn't they report this right away? Is there some foul play afoot that nobody just wants to discuss? I don't know what it is, man. All I know is the 49ers may be in trouble if Kyle Shanahan isn't available. Like, you can talk about Kyle Shanahan choking in the Super Bowl. You can talk about Kyle Shanahan choking in big moments, but Kyle Shanahan is one of the best coaches in the NFL. And if he's not available and he has to kind of sit out for a little while to get himself back to health, then the 49ers can actually suffer because of this. And I don't know, man. I just got an issue. I just got a problem, y'all. With this go along, get along, gatekeeping society that we live in, where people are so afraid to report certain things because they're scared to lose their position, and they don't want to make nobody mad, and they don't want to upset nobody. So I want to mess up my access. Man, there's no way that we live in a world today where you have 11 days go by and nobody says anything. So that just, to me, that was reporters probably protecting the 49ers to make sure that they can actually get their ducks in a row, to make sure that they protect the brand, and make sure that they don't make somebody mad, so the next time when they ask about a player, they can get what they want. I'ma just keep it all the way a buck. People hide things all the time. Like the whole Mike Vrabel, Diana Rossini situation that happened throughout the summer. Like, I'm gonna let y'all know, man. I mean, they had talks going on around that as early as February. Like, I heard that, like, before it even like got out and made waves. So people be protecting these individuals, man, and they just be protecting their access. And that's why, honestly, man, like, people ask me all the time, they be like, man, why I don't go to like certain, things. And I know a lot of the way that I approach media, a lot of things that I say, because I'm brutally honest, especially when it comes to me covering the Saints, causes me to maybe lose some access. But at the end of the day, man, I'd rather stay true to the people than to be sitting around here like just trying to play along with people just so I can be able to get some access, to make myself feel like I'm important. I just think that if you are a journalist, if you're a person that's following the NFL, the NBA, your top priority should be to your audience. Point blank, period. Now, I'm not saying go out here and just burn every bridge that you have, but at the same time, I just feel like you have an obligation to the people, right? The people are the ones that make you who you are. Like, I mean, you're absolutely nothing when it, if the people don't get behind you. The people are the ones that's pushing your stories. The people are the ones that's retweeting your posts. The people are the ones that's subscribing to your channel. People are the ones that's subscribing to your newsletters. So I just feel like they should be the number one and most important people. And when I tell you this, if I ever reach a moment where I'm like, should I say this? I'm gonna make somebody mad. I rather sit up here and be honest and be truthful and forthcoming to the people that make me who I am than be sitting around here just trying to go along to get along. Now, I understand, that comes with a price, but at the end of the day, if people rock with you, they're going to rock with you because those are the people that actually made you. But at the end of the day, 11 days going by and nobody says absolutely nothing at all. Like after 11 days, nobody said nothing at all. I'm just wondering, man, will a real story come out one day? Because I think it's just deeper than him just coming back from a chiropractor appointment. That's just my opinion. But ain't nobody released this. Ain't nobody say anything about this. But I think it's much deeper than that. Because if it was nothing like, I guess nothing that was, I guess can be considered controversial or anything like that, you would go ahead and just put it out there. Man, prayers up for Coach Kyle Shanahan as he has been in an accident. Ain't nobody even say anything. So I'm just wondering what the 49ers got to hide. Where do you think Villaverde will end up if the Bucks trade him? I don't think Villaverde is going anywhere. I think that's leverage. And I think that's just something that was put out there in order for him to create some type of buzz in order for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to pay him. I do not feel like Villaverde is going anywhere. I think that's just his agent. I think that's just some PR stuff to try to put some smoke, towards the Tampa Bay Buccaneers way to try to light a fire under their behind in order for them to be able to pay him. I don't expect for Villaverde to go anywhere. This guy's a leader of the team. He's a force in the middle, and he's a really good in nose tackle. So I don't expect for him to go anywhere. Like this is a power play. This is leverage. We've seen this before. Myles Garrett did the same thing last year with the Cleveland Browns. I mean, I know he plays for the Rams now, but he did the same thing, wanted a trade. Browns end up paying him, making him a highest paid pass rusher in the NFL, and he went back to the Browns for one more year. So I think that this is just one of those situations where they're putting those stories out there. The agent, sending a story to some top journalists, and a journalist is putting it out there to try to put a fire under the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to force their hand and for him to make a power play. But if I am a betting man, I would honestly 100% say that homie ain't going nowhere. I would be shocked. I would be shocked if Villaverde is on the move. There's no who did they pay? Who did they pay? Like who on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers team is demanding that type of bread to a point where you can't pay Villaverde right now? I mean, think about it. Like who is paid on their team? Antoine Winfield Jr., Baker Mayfield. Like who is getting paid? Like who's paid on the team? So I just think that's a power play. 49ers had terrible luck with injuries. Yeah, man. Even, I mean, they coach getting injured. Say it with your chest. Yeah, man. Look, I'm just tired of the fakery, man. I am, man. I'm just tired of the fakery. Like people just want to go along and get along, man. I ain't kissing nobody ass for no access. Like seriously, man. Your priority and your obligation is to the people. And when you lose sight of that, you might as well just go ahead and wrap it up. Just go ahead and wrap it up, man. Smiling and joking and laughing at people jokes that ain't even funny. Like they got Kevin Hart on stage or Dave Chappelle just so they can let you in the building. Man, miss me with that nonsense, man. Like it's about the people at the end of the day. The people that made you who you are. And some people would say, well, I wouldn't be able to get the things that I need for the people if I didn't get along. Well, I believe that to a certain extent, but I don't believe that you should sacrifice yourself in the name of access. I just do not. And I just think that the fact that the 49ers did the press conference, they put the statement out about Kyle Shanahan, and then maybe two minutes later, that's when all of the stories start to come out. That's weak. That's weak right there. That's somebody protecting their brand and not servicing the people that made them who they are. I stand by that, and I don't care who get upset. It's just a fact. It's just an absolute fact. Feel free to put your comments in the chat. I'll go ahead and I'll take a few more comments before we get up out of here. But this is the Straight Up TJ podcast. My name is TJ Jones. I ask that you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Help the channel to grow. as we gear towards Saints training camp 2026. That has been a topic of conversation throughout this episode. And, just looking forward to the New Orleans Saints hitting the field. Great news. Jordan Tyson will be a full participant in training camp. He'll be a go. We heard that from Mickey Loomis, and we also heard it from head coach Kellen Moore. I know Saints fans are looking forward to seeing what Jordan Tyson can do on the field. Guy's a human highlight reel. Got a little Justin Jefferson in him, if you ask me. And I think that he got some dog in him, man, some real dog. And I think that he's worth the wait. I think that the Saints know what they have in him when he is at 100%. And that's the reason why they kind of gradually brought him along, wasn't trying to push the issue, all in the name of, fans demanding to see what he can actually do on the field, trusting the process. And that's important. That's important to do. So this young man can hit the ground running. He had a hamstring injury, towards the beginning of the year. He didn't really take part in anything when it comes to the combine he did some things at Pro Day, just enough in order for people to kind of see what he can do, showcasing his skills. The Saints ended up drafting him. Like I said, it didn't really push him, to a point where, they can possibly, cause him to have some lingering injuries. Even Jordan Tyson admitted himself, some of the workout regimens that he's done, strength and conditioning, he has to pay close attention to. He has to focus on. So this is a young man that understands what he needs to do to get better. This is a young man that understands what he needs to do in order for him to be on the field consistently. And I expect for him to do that. They also talked about Chris Olave, which is a hot topic. Of as long as Chris Olave doesn't have a contract, you got to wonder, like, what will training camp look like for Chris Olave? Will Chris Olave be able to go out there? Will he participate in those activities, or will he get information, or will he get advice from his team to tell him to kind of settle down a little bit, pull it back a little bit, will they do that? And look, I appreciate Mickey Loomis for basically saying what I've been saying since the absolute beginning, which is the main reason why Chris Olave has not signed a contract. And it has a lot to do with the fact of his concussion issues. And I believe that the New Orleans Saints, rather we find out now or later, they want to put some type of clause inside of his contract. And I'm pretty sure maybe the representation of Chris Olave may be pushing against that. So the Saints want to protect themselves from a business perspective. A guy who has had at least 4 concussions in his career dating back to Ohio State. They want to err on the side of caution. They like him, but at the end of the day, football is a business. And I honestly feel that is the holdup. If they can find a common ground, I believe that would be the day that Chris Olave signs an extension. But the Saints probably want to put something inside of that contract to protect him in case Chris Olave goes down with a concussion. But if I'm Chris Olave, I'm definitely, and this may not be what Saints fans want to hear, but I'm looking at it from a business perspective. If I'm Chris Olave, I'm not going out there going balls to the wall without a contract. Because if he ends up getting hurt or he ends up pulling something, then it's going to stop him from getting his bread. And that's something that he doesn't want to do. And we've seen players get hurt, get injured, can't play anymore, and then all of a sudden the team just go and they look in a different direction, and that player loses out on bread. So everybody talking about how good Chris Olave is. Mickey Loomis talk about how much of a team player he is. I would not think any less of Chris Olave, any more, any less, if he was to sit out during training camp. And you as a Saints fan, you shouldn't think of Chris Olave in any way either if he ends up not taking part in some of these activities, because you have to look at it from a business perspective. Like, we look at these guys making millions of dollars, but at the end of the day, these organizations make way more money than these players. So if he decides that he's not going to take part in all activities and he's going to try to taper back just a little bit to make sure that he's protected and make sure that he doesn't go out there and hurt himself before he ends up getting an extension, I ain't got no problem with that, and neither should you. But hey, I'm just being honest. But TJ, if he doesn't go balls to the wall, the rest of the NFL will notice, and he won't get his contract. That's not true. That's not true. Inevitable, because you got to think about it. Okay, think about when Michael Thomas. Think about what Michael Thomas now. Now Michael Thomas didn't take part in the activities before he got paid. And what did he do when he got paid? He had 149 receptions, NFL record. He had the most receptions in NFL history, a record that still is, still alive and well to this very day. So I don't think anybody's going to look at it. Nobody's going to look at that, because we have seen players who have sat on the sidelines. We have seen players that have held out and not took part in activities, like been in the facility, stood on the side so they won't get fined, but they're handling their business behind the scenes. Nobody's going to look at that. Nobody's going to look at Chris Olave and think any less of Chris Olave. Everybody on here know what Chris Olave is capable of being. This has absolutely nothing to do with anything other than this man getting paid. So if he was not to take part in the offseason activities, nobody will think any less of him, because everybody knows what Chris Olave is capable of doing when he is on the field. The last time we seen Chris Olave on the field, he had 1,100 yards, 100 catches, and 9 touchdowns. He was a second-team All-Pro. Just because you're sitting out, that doesn't mean I don't think anybody should look at this dude in a negative light, because teams are going to look out for the team, and we shouldn't get mad at players because they want to look out for themselves, because the team is going to continue to go forward. The team is going to be around way longer than Chris Olave is going to play football. And this man got to make sure he's taking care of his family and take care of himself in the process. So if he does decide to not take part in those activities, I don't think fans should get mad, because I think if you are getting mad, it's just the fact that you feel like you're being robbed out of the opportunity to see him run around. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with not seeing my boy run around if that means that he ain't gonna if that means that he running around and he ain't paid, and this man end up getting hurt, and then the Saints just gonna look out for themselves, man. That's just the truth. Let's see. Teams are a business, and so are you, the player. Yeah, they're gonna look out for themselves, man. Like they're gonna look out for themselves. And like I just think, and look, get in where you fit in. I'm not talking about you if I ain't talking about you, but I do feel like fans sometimes get at these players because selfishly they want to see these players go out here and run around with shorts and shells on and catch passes, so we can see the video of them doing some type of acrobatic catch or something. Like, but you got to look at it, man. This football is a business. It's a business. And if these guys end up getting hurt, these teams are going to protect their brand. They're like, they may like these players, but they're going to look out for their own self-interest. Like this doesn't have anything to do with the NFL, but I think y'all remember basketball player Isaiah Thomas. Not the Isaiah Thomas for the Detroit Pistons, but the Isaiah Thomas that played for the Boston Celtics. And y'all remember, like, when Isaiah Thomas, he was playing for the Boston Celtics, he was leading the team and scoring. I mean, the dude was just out there balling, and he was looking for a big-time contract, and they just refused to pay this kid. They didn't want to pay him, and he was out there giving everything that he could. It was looking like he was looking like Iverson back in 2001. When Iverson was just out there falling all on the ground, like getting knocked down in the name of the Philadelphia 76ers. That's how Isaiah Thomas was looking. And then lo and behold, he was in a contract negotiation, and he ended up getting hurt, being out for the season, man, messed his knee up. And guess what the Boston Celtics did? They didn't pay that man. And he robbed himself out of a payday. Now, Isaiah Thomas moved on, and he still played in the league, but he never got that big-time contract that he would have gotten if he would have protected himself and looked out for himself. But he was out there trying to give his all to the Boston Celtics organization, all for the Boston Celtics to turn around and say, oh, man, you hurt. Oh, rats. Didn't pay the guy. So like I said, football is a business. It's a business, ladies and gentlemen. Never forget that. As much as we like to see these guys catch touchdowns and get sacks and get interceptions and pick sixes, return for a touchdown, it's a business at the end of the day, and their bodies are the business. So they got to look out for it. They don't, like, football players don't have anything that they really honestly have going for them in negotiations other than their bodies. Their bodies are the ones that that get them the money. You know, how high they can jump, how fast they can run, how good their hands are, how strong they are. Any one of those things go down, then we're talking about a guy not getting paid and being a journeyman around the National Football League or not even in it. So don't get mad at Chris Olave if this man decides to sit out. I'm just being real with you all. I love how they're handling Jordan Tyson. These are things you hired Ted Rath for. I'd rather him 100% for regular season than trying to catch 5-second clips in training camp. Absolutely, Aaron. That's just what it is. Like, if you look at what the New Orleans Saints are doing, who cares if Jordan Tyson catch a pass in training camp? Like, what means more, him catching a pass in training camp or him catching a pass in the regular season against the Atlanta Falcons with playoff implications? I take the game versus the Falcons with playoff implications on the line. But, you know, caring about, oh man, you seen that catch and getting viral moments, like, man, if you care more about viral moments than actually seeing a guy being well enough to be on the field, then I think our priorities are messed up as fans, onlookers, prognosticators, etc. Can't blame him for looking out for himself. Should have not gotten to this point, but it is what it is. Yeah, I don't think anybody should get mad at Chris Olave, but people will, and they will get mad at him for not getting out there on the field. They'll start bringing up his concussion issues and, oh man, the Saints did this for him, the Saints did that for him. You still gonna have players that's out. You still gonna have fans out here towing the New Orleans Saints line, trying to be on the front line for the team, when they need to understand that this is a business and the team gonna look out for themselves if something was to happen to Chris Olave. I saw the comment from Jake Hayner Club, but it bothers me. It's not bothering me at all. Hey man, who cares at the end of the day, man? If you ain't got no haters, what they say, you probably if you got haters, you probably doing something right. Is that what they say? Says, but TJ, what if Tyson turns out to be even better than Olave and CO doesn't go out there and play for a contract and get injured? Does he still get his contract? Olave is good, but he ain't no Mike T. He's still gonna get his contract. Like, man, look, he's still gonna get his contract. That's not gonna stop the New Orleans Saints from giving him a contract. They would, like, honestly, that would be insane. If Jordan Tyson ends up being good, if not better than Chris Olave, that's a hell of a good situation that the Saints are in, because you don't have to worry about paying Jordan Tyson for at least 5 years. Like, if you pick up his 5th-year option, we're talking about you not having to pay this dude for 5 years. You're gonna have like at least 5 seasons of Jordan Tyson. And if you sign Chris Olave to a contract, you're gonna have at least 3 or 4 years with him. So you're gonna have a really good top shelf wide receiver that is on a rookie deal, and you have a veteran who, by the time his contract is up, it's gonna look like mere pennies to what the next wide receiver, like when Malachi Tony and all them other guys come into the NFL, it's gonna look like pennies. So that's a good problem to have. The Saints aren't gonna be like, well, man, Jordan Tyson, I mean, he's the next big thing. Like, well, we don't need Chris Olave anymore. Like, you're not gonna give up Chris Olave. You're not. Like, only way you will give up Chris Olave if, I don't know, the Saints end up having a terrible season and you just in the running to get Jeremiah Smith or something. Then we talking about maybe, using him as a trade bait. But at the end of the day, he's going to get paid. It's just a matter of when. And it doesn't matter how much and what incentives are going to be in his contract. Jordan Tyson and him being a really good player, like, has absolutely nothing to do with Chris Olave's contract. If you're the Saints, you want him to get paid and you want him to work out because you'll have two top shelf wide receivers. One you already paid with an extension and another one you ain't got to pay for another 4 seasons. So I get what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, but like, I don't care how good Jordan Tyson is. It has nothing to do with Chris Olave getting paid at all. Like, I can't see the New Orleans Saints saying, okay, we ain't gonna pay Chris Olave because look how great Jordan Tyson is. No, they're gonna pay him because in a couple of years, whatever Chris Olave's contract is gonna look like mere pennies. Because you got to think about the fact that the NFL salary cap goes up every single year. And the money that the NFL gets year after year after year is just absolutely ridiculous. So whatever the $34, $35 million contract or 32, 33, whatever you pay Chris Olave, going to look like pennies in the next couple of years. So when you have to pay like a guy like Jordan Tyson, who probably going to be getting like $45, $50 million around the time it's time for him to get paid. You need more than one good wide receiver in the league. The last 5 Super Bowl champions have a strong 1-2 combo at the skill positions. Yep. I mean, having that one guy as your number one guy that just leaps and bounds better than everybody else, I mean, they ain't going to get you nowhere. Like, you need somebody that's going to be able to be a good complement to that top receiver that you have. Like, you think about Reggie Wayne and Marvin Harrison. Think about Jerry Rice and John Taylor. You think about Alvin Harper and Michael Irvin. Like solid, like for a top franchise wide receiver, you always had a solid wide receiver on the other side too. Like you think about, some of these other like wide receivers, that have had some big time, seasons. Like, it don't necessarily always end with a Super Bowl championship. But the team that has a really good receiver and he's accompanied by another really good receiver on the other side, they always seem to find success. Because in the playoffs, everybody kind of focuses on your strengths. And you need that guy that maybe everybody's not focused on to make some plays. Trolls gonna troll, haters gonna hate, but that's when you know you're doing great. Yeah. I mean, pretty much, man. Pretty much. But yeah, I mean, look, I wouldn't get upset with Chris Olave. I'm not getting upset, at him at all if this guy decided not to take part in like these activities, because the only thing that's holding the Saints up because they probably wanted to put some type of clause inside the contract because of the concussions. And I don't think it's hyperbole here or me just basically just throwing that out here, because the question was asked during a press conference and Mickey Loomis was like, that's part of it. Well, I don't think it's part of it. I think it has a lot to do with it. But it's rather you trust the guy or you don't. It's rather you're going to believe in what this guy can bring to the table or you don't. And I think that Chris Olave is talented enough. I think they're going to end up paying him. But I just think that they probably want something in his contract that right now they're trying to kick against. But look, I appreciate everybody for being here. I know the show is a little bit longer on this episode. We looked at a couple press conferences from Saint General Manager Mickey Loomis, and we also checked out Kellen Moore's press conference. Feel free to put your comments, in the chat after the show. Make sure that you put your comments there. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, help the channel to grow here on the Straight Up TJ podcast. You're doing something great unless you are Dennis Allen. We were right about that dude. Yeah, Dennis Allen, that definitely wasn't it. That definitely wasn't the move, man. It wasn't the move. But you can follow me on X at TJAY Jones 8. Also, make sure that you all check out the Sleeper Saints podcast that is available. Before we get up out of here, I'm going to go ahead and put that link inside of the comments. Make sure if you have not already subscribed to the Sleeper Saints podcast. It's a weekly podcast covering the New Orleans Saints, hosted by yours truly. Shouts out to Sleeper Saints. We have a good time over there, man. We answer questions from the Who Dat Nation, and we basically just talk Saints. So if you're into the New Orleans Saints, you're into the black and gold, make sure you subscribe to that channel. I think we got about 460 subscribers so far. We started that podcast maybe like a month and a half ago, and we're hitting the ground running, man. So we want to try to push that podcast. We want to try to push that brand and try to make it successful. And we're going to be talking Saints throughout the season, so you don't want to miss it. Make sure you subscribe to the Sleeper Saints podcast. All right, so thank you all so much, and until next time, all I got to say is, who dat?
TJ. Yeah. Straight up. Let's go. Welcome to Straight Up TJ. Tap in, sit back, press replay. We're locked in with the Saints on a weekday. Now we talk every sport, every big play. Years on the grind, now we level up the view. From the dome to the world, get a better look at you. No script, just truth when we break it down. Barbershop talk, but we broadcast it loud. Welcome to Straight Up TJ. Straight up. Fresh takes every time a beat play. This ain't your everyday sports cliche. We talk real talk now, what the streets say. Welcome to Straight Up TJ. New wave every week, let it replay. From the Saints to the whole game each day. You tapped in with the truth. Straight Up TJ. Real time talk, yeah, you know that it's live. From the draft to the deals, how the stars really thrive. From the court to the field to the big stage. We gon' cover every angle like a back page. No cap, no spin, just a clear take. If it's weak, we gon' say it, let the fear break. From the city that believe when the odds stack, TJ got the whole sports world in the Welcome to Straight Up TJ. Straight up. Fresh takes every time a beat play. This ain't your everyday sports cliche. We talk real talk now, what the streets say. Welcome to Straight Up TJ. New wave every week, let it replay. From the Saints to the whole game each day. You tapped in with the truth. Straight Up TJ. TJ Jones, turn it up, let it ride. Straight Up TJ. We on your side. New chapter, same grind, same name. Hit play, pull up. Join the gang.